Charlie Munger is as great an investor as Warren Buffett. In fact, the two are close partners at Berkshire Hathaway. And at one Berkshire public meeting, Munger said something to a woman seeking financial freedom that stopped everyone in their tracks. The first $100,000 is but you gotta do it. I don't care what you have to do. If it means walking everywhere and not eating anything that wasn't purchased with a coupon, find a way to get your hands on $100,000. After that, you can ease off the gas a little bit. It's a hard truth for most people to come to grips with. But in order to start investing, trading, or buying assets on a serious level, you've got to first have a net worth in the low six figures. Hello and welcome to Alpha Finance. This is the channel to watch if you want to learn more about personal finance, investing in cryptocurrency. However, before I get into the topic, do me a favor, subscribe and hit the like button because it really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you, and now let's get into it. Munger's stark remark is valid for a variety of reasons. First off, having a lot of debt is a problem that a lot of people have to deal with before they can even think about investing. In addition, the aspiring rich often focus on the wrong priorities, like spending money on new clothes, instead of doing something productive with it. If you could give your 10-year-old self advice on money and life, think of how much time, work, and emotional stress you could spare yourself. And, speaking to Munger's main point, not having the advantages of compounding or leverage makes the first $100,000 the hardest. Since most folks only rely on income from a job, the first $100,000 feels insurmountable. Saving the first $100,000 usually requires a mix of short-term sacrifices and long-term dedication. There are three main factors that determine how long it will take you to save your first $100,000. The first is how effectively you keep track of your money to save and invest. The second is what the ceiling is on your salary. And the third is how successful you are at making investments early on. So, increasing your job income is one strategy for accumulating your investment capital. You might try freelancing on the side to earn an extra $500 or more a month if you have a marketable skill. With the money you've saved, you can make some smart investments in the stock market, like blue-chip companies with a record of strong earnings. Income growth, as opposed to cost-cutting, is the key to funding your investments without severely impacting your day-to-day living. That's crucial, since not feeling deprived will make it easier for you to stick to the plan. Once you're investing in stocks, you can employ another tactic of reinvesting any dividends, which are regular payouts some companies give to their investors. While it's easy to blow your dividend check on something frivolous, reinvesting it for more dividends will allow you to quickly compound your gains. It's also crucial to keep your investment fees at a minimum while you work toward your goal of reaching $100,000. Because of this, you may want to start investing in a low-cost index fund from a major financial services provider like Vanguard or Fidelity. Index funds mimic the buying and selling activity of a larger index, such as the S&P 500. Index funds have minimal expenses since it is cheaper for the fund manager to replicate an index than to actively choose equities, often less than 0.15% of assets every year. I'd like to switch gears now and point out something crucial that rarely gets mentioned in finance circles. When discussing money and strategies for achieving financial independence, it's very easy to be detached from the emotional and psychological reality of actually striving towards these goals. Millions of people appreciate in the abstract that making and investing tens of thousands of dollars is hard, but what does a life like that look like? Let's sketch out a little story of a fictional character who might be in a similar situation to many people watching this video, and some situations you're likely to endure for many months or years. The financial hero of our story is named Tom. Ever since Tom was a kid, he saw adults commuting to jobs that made them miserable, only to come home and watch TV until they had to get up early in the morning and do it all over again. These adults never seemed to get beyond this cycle, motivated only by the fear they experienced each time they checked their bank account. Tom was sure of one thing: he didn't want to end up like them. So he searched for an answer. Everywhere he went in his research, he encountered famous sayings attributed to successful entrepreneurs and investors, like Charlie Munger. Tom felt inspired by their achievements and wise counsel. From that point forward, Tom made it his mission to reach his first $100,000 and completely transform his life and finances. Right out of university, he was hired by IBM to work in their New York Central office. Tom knew many people thought he had landed a high-paying dream job, and he felt truly fortunate to have been hired on. But deep down, he was resolved to building his own business and working toward financial freedom. Tom recognized that doing so would require careful, disciplined financial planning. In particular, he was intent on purchasing equities as soon as possible and begin his career as a stock investor. Before taxes, he was making about $50,000 per year as an entry-level consultant. There was no way he could make ends meet and his investment goals on his starting wage, so he had to be creative. Tom took to driving for Uber since it was the best way he could think of to generate money quickly. After his work week at IBM, he'd get in his grandma's Honda Civic to work Friday and Saturday evenings chauffeuring very drunk partygoers to and from bars. By sticking to this strategy, Tom was able to bring in an additional $500 each week, or $25,000 per year. This resulted in a 50% increase in his salary, to around $75,000. It certainly wasn't easy money. Tom heard from countless friends and family that he was insane for spending all week at a respectable office job, and then sacrificing every one of his weekends watching others have fun while he worked till 3 a.m. As a matter of fact, once Tom picked up one of his colleagues from IBM late one night, and his coworker was shocked to find that Tom was the driver. After dropping him off at his house, it was all Tom could think about that night. But he pushed past the embarrassment. Tom was focused on a single outcome and worked tirelessly toward it, even if it meant giving up his precious leisure time and even his pride. Of course, making money was only half the problem, the other was saving it. During this time, Tom not only worked endlessly at making as much as he could, he adopted a Spartan austerity, putting aside as much as he could. Tom opted to live with two other housemates in a two-bedroom townhouse in order to cut his rent. As the third man to join the home, he opted to make the den his bedroom. He could hardly fit his bed in the small space, and there was no lock on the door. His single favorite thing in the makeshift room was a free Elon Musk poster he printed off the internet to keep him motivated. Tom also did the normal things to save money, like buying second-hand clothes and making his own meals at home rather than dining out. Instead of joining his co-workers for lunch, he'd bring his own meals to the office in two separate briefcases. But even Tom the Spartan needed some downtime, so every Thursday he'd visit an Irish bar in town that was rather famous among the college crowd, but avoided by anyone with a decent-paying job. This went on for 2 years. But after his 24-month slog, Tom had managed to save up close to $90,000. In a town about an hour and a half north of New York City, he used the money as a 20% down payment on a cash-flowing triplex. This $400,000 asset began generating Tom a reliable monthly revenue, which made it easier for him to leave his position at IBM and start his own business. With the money he made from his first company and his triplex, he was able to purchase other properties and stocks. Tom also put money into e-commerce and tech companies with bigger risk to reward profiles. It was at this point, one day while managing his investment portfolio, that Tom realized he had achieved escape velocity. He never had to worry about making a wage again. With his newfound freedom, Tom was able to pursue his passions of reading, writing, and international travel, as well as personal relationships. As for the first $100,000, it was just the beginning. As for everyone else who saw Tom's success and asked how he did it, he simply pointed out that no matter what the details are, the secret to success stays the same: decide on a goal and keep grinding until you get there. And once you've reached it, continue building on those successes. Drop your ego and quit caring what other people think, so you can concentrate on making and keeping as much money as possible. Invest carefully after you reach your goal, and your money will grow exponentially. And like Tom, one day you'll wake up and realize the door of your prison cell has been opened. You're financially free. You can finally take your foot off the gas and enjoy everything life has to offer. I know whenever the subject of how best to achieve financial freedom is brought up, there will be a variety of opinions. So please, let me know about your own journey. Are you on the road to your first $100,000? Or is today the day you realize it's time to start? Let's take inspiration from each other's quest for financial freedom and independence. The first $100,000 is hard, but it doesn't have to be lonely. Thank you all for watching and sharing. Until next time, don't stop striving.